Yeah.
Hey, Bloom fam. I'm Tay.
I'm Taish.
And we are Living the Bloom. Girl, you had a self-care trip, sis.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Hey, girl. Hey, I ain't seen you in a couple of weeks.
I know. It's been a couple of weeks, girl. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, boo.
Yes. You didn't take me with you, though. I'm so
you know what?
upset
We
about that.
do need to plan a trip. It's been a while since we did a friend trip.
When is the last friend trip we took?
It's been a second. We need to get that on the calendar for 2025.
We do. So tell us about your trip.
Yeah, shout out to my girl Philandria.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, boo. She turned 50 years old and she looks fabulous. So
she does.
I tagged along with her. It was so last minute. It was like 2 weeks before the trip. She was telling me about it. Her friend couldn't make it. I'm like, you know what? Let me see if I can pull this off.
Let me hop on this plane and get to this
Girl.
beach.
Girl,
love it.
It was amazing.
Yes.
The beach is beautiful.
Clear.
You can see your
Not
feet.
Galveston. Gulf of Mexico-ish.
Not Galveston. Not Galveston.
Okay.
No shade to Galveston.
Girl,
Your peeps from Galveston?
My family's there, and I was there yesterday, and we were looking out right there at their water, and my mama said, "Oh, it looks clear today." I said, "No, you're looking at where the sun is glistening. If you turn your head,
It gets murky.
45 degrees." She was like, "Oh yeah, it's dirty."
It's crazy because Galveston. We would go to activities, but you ain't getting in that water.
Not no more. We used to.
See, I never.
Oh, we used to, girl. 30 years ago, it was nicer.
Oh, okay.
And then I don't know what happened, but you got to see some clear.
I saw a beautiful beach.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to relax. It was really just about resetting, right? I needed to. I spent like 4 days not doing anything.
Yes.
So my mental load has been reset.
Yay! And you left my baby though.
Left my baby. I was that's the first time I left him. So I was feeling guilty about leaving my baby.
I know.
Girl, and when I come back, he just looked at me with a blank stare. I was all excited because I got back midnight on Sunday. And so he was asleep. And because he wakes up around 4 or 5 and he takes a bottle. Then he goes back to sleep. So when he got up the second time, it was daylight out, and I picked him up, and girl, I'm like, "Hey, Donovan!" He just like, "Where you be?"
He side-eyeing you because you left him like you left me. He like, "Wait, what's going on, mama?
Where you been?"
Yes.
So yeah, I thought I would get like some little cuteness love. That little boy just looked at me.
You. Yes.
So,
mad.
but I was happy to see him,
Oh,
and he
I
looked
love
different. Like,
Yeah.
so I guess it had been 4 nights and 5 days. That little boy looked different.
Yeah, he is really growing. Can you believe that he is going on a year?
He is going on a year. I absolutely cannot believe it.
I love my baby.
Girl, time is flying by.
It's going too fast. And speaking of, he'll be 1 in February, right? And so today, y'all, we are talking about the journey to motherhood.
Yes, and how it looks different.
It looks very different. You and I have been, talking about motherhood for a very long time. And my journey looked very different from yours, right? And I conceived naturally.
Yep. You
with
planned
both
yours
boys.
out. You
I
was
planned
like,
it.
I'm about to do this. You remember you was like, I'm about to go see the doctor. I'm like, for what, girl? Just get it on.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm about to go see a doctor and do this. I'm like,
Why? Just do your thing.
just get it on.
Yeah. And I did the thing with the intention of, I love October. My favorite people are born in October.
Oh, so you actually planned so that your babies would have the birthdays in October?
Yes.
I never realized that it was like I knew you were ready and you were starting, but I didn't know you had it planned out to a T like that.
I want some October babies.
Which October is a good month.
It's a good month. That's your birth month.
Yes,
my mama's
Libras.
birth month. My great grandmother, Katrina. My people.
Girl, all your people.
Yes. And we got married in October.
And you got married in
Yes.
October.
So Nolan was born, of course, October 3rd. Landon's due date was October the 6th.
Yes.
But he
came early.
Came in September. So he's with his daddy, which is fine.
That would have been so dope because we would have been birthday twins.
Y'all would have been birthday twins. So, but girl, so I was able to conceive naturally with the boys. Have a bonus baby. Shout out to Tink. But your journey was different with Donovan. My journey
was different,
right?
Yep.
And one of the things that we were looking at was statistics about Black women and fertility and, conceiving and having children.
Okay.
So Black women are twice as likely to suffer from some sort of infertility issue over white women. However, they are more than half as likely to explore alternative options to conceiving. And one of the options for conception is going through in vitro fertilization, which you'll talk to us about.
Yeah.
And 78% of white women have gone through IVF, right?
Right.
Whereas only 3% of Black women have explored IVF.
Right.
And that is a significant difference.
Absolutely. That's a huge difference.
Yes. So tell us about, how did you get to the IVF space, sis?
Yeah. So the biggest thing was, as you know, I did not want to have any kids before I got married.
Yep.
So once I got married, I was 38, which was later in life. And that's really what it boils down to, right? A lot of women are waiting later in life to get married due to, pursuing careers or not meeting the right person or whatever the case may be, right? So I'm 38, getting married. Yeah. And at first I did not want to do IVF because I felt like infertility, I'm like, if I go through IVF, then it means that it's something wrong with me. Yeah. I feel like women should be able to have kids naturally. And again, at this point, I really did not know a lot about IVF. Right. But in between that time frame, I had a couple of friends that went through IVF. And then I had talked to one of my friends and she was like, girl, white women go through IVF all the time.
All the time.
She's like, it's not a big deal. And so that kind of changed my perspective a little bit. Yeah. And then when I started to go through the process, so just to back up a little bit, before I started the IVF process, I had fibroids, right? And I knew that before I got married. But at the time, the doctor was just like, she was like, hey, your fibroids are not large. She said, you can, right now, you don't have to do anything. She's like, if you're not trying to have kids, you can explore options in the future to get them removed. But like, she pretty much was like, it's not a big deal at this point. Okay. So by the time that I got married and I didn't start exploring IVF right away because I wanted to enjoy my husband. I'm like, I wanted to enjoy us doing what we want to do. Yes. Like if we want to jump up and catch a flight, we can do that. If we want to wake up and not do anything, we can do that. Because I understood once them kids start coming, your life changes.
All the way.
So I was trying to absorb it all. So it was probably 2 years after we got married that maybe it was a year because I knew I still had the fibroids. So anyway, I had went to the doctor and she was like, oh, your fibroids have grown significantly. It was like the size of a grapefruit.
Yeah. So you got married in 2020.
Yeah. This was
2021.
This was like 2021.
Okay.
This was 2021. And this must have been like the beginning of 2021 because by the time that I realized that I had to get the fibroids removed, I was trying to get scheduled for the surgery, and girl, with COVID, I couldn't get on the calendar.
Yes. It took you months.
It took months
to get on the calendar, right?
Because I was originally scheduled for June. I ended up having the surgery in September.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So
were you scared, girl?
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, that's a big surgery.
I started searching YouTube, I'm like, they about to cut me open. I had never had a major surgery. So, girl, I mean, when I got into that room after I started, I'm like hyperventilating. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to have surgery. I had never had like a major surgery like that. Yeah. And then when you go on YouTube and start searching, like, people be really extreme. Yes. And quite honestly, the surgery is actually not that bad. Okay. They give you good medication. Yep. The hardest thing is that you're sore afterwards, but the actual surgery, that's the hardest thing. You're sore afterwards, so your mobility is limited. But I mean, you just need to lay down and stay on the medication, stay on the schedule, right, for the meds. Right.
And there's different ways that fibroids can be removed, right? So yours was the
myomectomy, where my uterus was cut open.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But it depends on where your fibroids are. Okay. And that's another issue, that my doctor, the specialist who actually removed my fibroids, what he told me is that Black women are prone to have more fibroids than other women. Yeah. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the foods that we eat.
Yeah. Or
the
genetics
hormones,
or.
It could be, and I really, because if you think about a fibroid, it's like a growth. So is it that like dairy, we may consume dairy more so, and they injecting hormones in them cows.
Yes.
So
we need to be watching what we eat, y'all.
For sure. So he did tell me, he was like, Black women are more prone to have fibroids. And he was actually, my fibroid was so big that he was a cancer surgeon. Yeah. So, yeah, that man made me mad.
He made you, you were hot as fish grease with that man.
Yeah, because he was like, because I was already annoyed that my surgery had been pushed back. And he was like, well, this is a what do you call it when it's your choice? An elective procedure.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I was like, and I still if I don't have this surgery, then I can't have kids, because I was trying to understand what was the risk to my uterus, because he had told me that with the surgery, and because my fibroid was so large, it was basically sitting on the walls of my uterus, right?
Okay.
So he was like, Was it
on the outer walls or inside?
No, the inside.
Okay, so it was inside your uterus.
Yeah, so to the point that you were making earlier about the different types of procedures.
Yes.
If your fibroids, because sometimes they sit on the outside of like your uterus, kind of like a stalk, right? And you can go through like laparoscopic procedures to have them removed.
And I know somebody that went through that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
And but for me, because my fibroids, and I actually I think I had a couple of small ones on the outside, but mine were like intermuscle, inside. Yes.
Okay.
And so he had to cut me open, and the risk was that I could lose my uterus. So I'm like,
and we're not trying to lose the uterus. We're trying to have a baby.
Right. That's the whole point. So I'm trying to ask him, like, sir, like, what are the odds? He's like, look, I'm trying to make sure that you make it. I don't this is an elective procedure. So I'm just, as long as you make it out. I'm just like, sir.
Can me and my uterus make it out?
Can me and my uterus make it out?
Okay.
So shout out to him for keeping my uterus. Yes. But I did not like him.
I know.
I did not like that man. So, but he did keep my uterus.
Yes.
And I
Donovan
was able
and I thank you.
Yes, and I was able to carry my baby. So thank you.
Yes.
So that was really the first step, right? Is going to the doctor to understand, like, is anything blocking your uterus? Do you really have fertility issues?
Yes.
And so what my fertility specialist that I work with told me was that you don't have any fertility issues. So once you get the fibroids removed, like all of your reproductive organs are working properly.
Yes.
So he was like, you can try to get pregnant naturally. It's just time. Time is not on your side.
Correct. Because it takes longer the older you are.
The older you are.
To get pregnant, generally speaking.
And let's be real, it's like we busy. So getting pregnant is really not as easy as people think, right? It's like the perfect storm has to align, and you like everything has to line up for
right.
And so when you busy, my husband was on the road working a lot, so it was like, I'm like, oh damn, I ain't got time.
Right. I need to work this out.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And so from that point, after my fibroid removal, that was like 6 months that I had to wait for my body to heal.
Okay.
So from that point,
it's literally like having a baby.
It is, it's literally like having a baby and then waiting for your body to heal again.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
To start.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So now you're in 2022.
I'm in 2022. So in January of 2022, I had a outpatient procedure. And in this procedure, they basically make sure that I didn't have like any remnants of fibroids from the surgery. And so they just making sure that everything is cleaned out. And it was like an outpatient surgery, and they're just prepping the body for the IVF process. And actually, let me take a step back, because even before that point, because girl, okay, my hub's 40 years old, didn't have any kids. Woo woo. No, hey, I still I didn't have no issue with a man with kids, but I was happy to find one that didn't.
Yes.
But I'm like, can this man have kids? Because it's not a lot of 40-year-old men walking around here with no kids.
Children. Yes.
And I asked him, I said, well, have you ever got anybody pregnant before? He was like, no. I'm like, can you have kids?
And I can see you asking him just like that. Can you have?
can you have kids? And so he got checked out too. Like before we even started, like that was one of the first things that they do is they test him. And girl, everything was swimming. Everything he hit all the marks. So I said, okay, well, we can.
Yes, it's gonna float on over to the egg.
So we got through that piece first before we even started the actual IVF piece. And so that was January of 2022 when I had the outpatient procedure. And that's really when the IVF process starts, because from 2 weeks from there, I started the shots. And that is the first half, which is the egg extraction. Okay. Well, the first half is producing the eggs. So they give you hormones to that forces your body to produce eggs. The whole goal is to produce as many eggs as you can so that you can get a quality egg at the end of the day. Okay. So shots every day.
Shout out to women. Like, can I just shout out to women?
Baby, we go through a lot.
All the things.
The man don't have to do nothing. None of that. But show up.
Girl, that's okay. Golly.
And you know I don't like needles.
I know you hate needles.
Girl.
I didn't know how you were going to make it through this process, because when you talked about that first set of needles, I was like, oh, my friend is not going to make it.
Girl, I was hyperventilating. And Darwin helped me with my shots. Good. He helped me with all of my shots.
Yes, he's good.
And so sometimes I'd be like, well, one tip that I found was just icing the area of injection, right? So girl, I'll be closing my eyes. I'm like, okay, hurry up, do a countdown. 1, 2, 3. And
that Beyonce countdown song is one of your favorite songs.
That is one of my favorite songs. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs.
Okay, sorry.
So girl, look, I would like count down. I would close my eyes and wouldn't look, ice it up, and that wasn't that bad. The needle was small.
Yeah,
and
you did that for just a few weeks, right?
I did that for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then after 2 weeks, you basically the day, I think it's like the day that you're supposed to ovulate, which is weird because it's like multiple eggs.
Yeah,
but it's a procedure that you have, and they extract all of the eggs.
Okay.
And that's also an outpatient procedure. That day was actually painful because you have so many eggs in your ovaries, and it's just like it hurts. It's this abdominal pain. It's like very bad cramps.
Okay. And it lasts for how long did you experience that?
So I think like that morning before the procedure, and if I recall, it might have been like a couple of hours before the procedure, I'm supposed to take this shot.
Okay.
And from the time that I took the shot to the time that I got to the actual clinic, I was in pain like right when I got to the clinic. Yeah. So basically, I was like in a ball on the floor. I'm like, y'all need to give me some anesthesia. Do something like right now.
Yeah.
So they got me in the bed, gave me the anesthesia, they got my medication flowing, and I finally felt fine. Okay. So the actual extraction procedure is not bad. Okay. I think that one I was asleep. I think that one you're asleep. So you don't feel anything, and then when you wake up, it's just outpatient, and you rest the rest of the day. Okay. Now from there, you want to get your eggs. So they put the egg with the sperm to make the embryo.
Yes.
And then you want to get the embryos tested. There are some women, I was doing some research, and I was reading that a lot of women don't get the genetic testing. And I highly recommend that, because in order for you to have a successful IVF process, it requires a high quality embryo. Right. And there's no way to know if you have a high quality embryo if you don't get it tested.
I wonder how many women don't get it tested, because that's a big deal, just from the viability, right? And making sure that it's successful, like you said, but 2, being mentally prepared for something being wrong with your baby, because we, as you know, lost a baby in 2020 because he had so many chromosomal abnormalities that he just was not viable. He did not survive. But they were saying if we were able to even get to term, which we weren't, that he would likely die immediately, or he was going to have to immediately go into surgery right after birth to do different things for his heart and other stuff. And they were just like, it's going to be painful for him. So I think it's important for moms and dads to know what they're getting into. If you have the funds to get your embryo tested, that's important. Yeah.
Because the IVF process is already expensive. And if you basically the body will, so it's a couple of things that can happen if you don't get it tested, right? Like what you had to go through, unfortunately, can happen if you implant an embryo that's not high grade. Your body will more than likely reject it through miscarriage, is one thing, or you can have a child like that has some type of issues that you may have to deal with, which unfortunately, you guys had experienced. But I highly recommend it. It's expensive. Yeah. Like I think, and different insurances pay for different things, because I was talking to a couple of friends and their insurance paid for it. Mine did not. And it was like $5,000 to get it tested. Right. But at least Yeah. And that testing that you had for $5,000 covered multiple embryo, It covered 8 embryos to be tested. Okay. So yeah, I had 22 embryos that survived.
Yes.
22 for the founders.
Yes.
And then 8 were covered from my insurance.
Yes.
And
that's
so
your line number.
That's my line number. So I felt like, okay, it was, the numbers thing was working out for me.
And I loved it too, because Beezy's line number is 22.
Yes, Reesh. Yeah. Her number was 22. And we had laughed about that, talking about it after the fact, when I was telling her about what I was going through.
Yes.
And she was like, yes, 22 for the founders in my number.
Yes. So divine.
Okay. Yes. So, things lined up that way. But I was telling you that I had like a genetic, some kind of muscular genetic disorder. Like it would be like a 25% chance that I would pass that on to my child. So it was critical to make sure that my husband didn't have it, because that would increase
the likelihood. Yeah.
Which is another reason to get the embryos tested. Right. So the reality, like it's some people walking around missing some chromosomes, and it's some people walking around missing some stuff, unfortunately.
You are silly.
Like,
you are silly.
That, and to be 100% honest, having kids older, I was happy to have that step to kind of give me some reassurance of having a healthy baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they talk about Down syndrome and all of that. Like all of that can be identified at that point.
Right. Okay.
So
you did that.
And
everybody. So you had 2. There were 2. There was a boy and girl that were.
There were 2 healthy, high grade, what they call high grade embryos.
Yes. Okay.
The high grade embryos are the embryos that have the best probability of making it through. Yeah, of having success in basically getting you pregnant.
Right.
So you want to make sure you have the high grade embryos. And I think that because that's a reason why some IVFs fail. So there are some clinics that I would say if you are going through IVF process, definitely get the testing, because there could be some clinics that they make money from you coming back. Right.
And that's an emotional toll.
Absolutely.
That's a physical toll. That's a lot.
Absolutely.
Right.
So the goal is to get the embryo to stick. So having a high quality embryo is really a huge part of that. So from the point of having the eggs extracted, it took 2 weeks for the embryos to be tested.
Yeah.
Then after that, I had to schedule the procedure to actually implant the eggs.
Yeah.
So there was actually probably like a month difference between it, because in between my doctor retired. They come tell me that they're like, "Oh, Dr. Such and Such, he's retired." I'm like, "How he gonna retire in the middle of my IVF treatment?"
Yeah, you were hot about that, but it turned out good.
It turned out good, but it seemed like every doctor I get, they going somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, it turned out good. The doctor that I ended up getting, I really, really liked him. Yeah. It was this Asian guy, and I forget his name. I think his name was Dr. Kim. Dr. Jonathan Kim, and he took good care of me.
Yeah.
And he got me. He was like, "Hey, the goal is to get you pregnant." And he's like, after he when he did the implant, he was like, "Everything looks good." He's like, "You have a high probability, so we're gonna be positive."
Yes.
I was like praying.
Yay.
Girl, I went home. I just laid down, put my legs up. I'm like, "You better stay up there."
I can see you too, propping your legs up. Like, you better
I had my legs propped up on a pillow for like the whole day. And that procedure is not bad. It's an outpatient procedure.
Okay.
So it wasn't bad at all. And so when they do the implementation, it's 10 days that you wait to find out if you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Girl, that was the longest 10 days.
And then it was like, yay.
And I think somebody asked me, "Well, are you gonna go get a pregnancy test?" I'm like, I'm not about to waste my money on a pregnancy test.
They are going to.
So I'm like, I'm about to find out in 10 days. So I don't know any pregnancy test on the market that's gonna give me a good answer. I might as well just wait. I'm gonna be wasting my money.
Yeah.
So 10 days.
Shout out to you, because I would have been at the CVS spending my money like peeing on the stick. Hey,
but pregnant?
No,
girl. I'm like, I might as well just wait. But the shots though, like I was telling you, the first set of shots were not bad, but the second shot, those shots went into the muscle of the buttocks.
Yeah.
And I had to do that every day up until 10 weeks.
I was so sad for you, because you would call and be like, it hurts more. I felt like it hurt more every day because it was in the same area, right?
The same area, and it was getting sore.
Yeah. I remember that. I'm like, Lord, help my friend make it through. We 8 weeks in. We 9 weeks in. Sis, you at 10 weeks. Come on now.
Girl, I was like, y'all, can I finish taking this shot now?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, it's helping you stay, it's helping you, it's helping to prevent miscarriage.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah,
well, so shout out to the 10 weeks. Now we're done. Then what?
Then you pregnant.
Then you fully pregnant.
Fully pregnant.
Nothing else. No more with the IVF.
No more. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. They switch you over to a normal. You have to find your own OB, and you going through the normal process at that point.
Okay.
So now it's just hoping that you make it through all the milestones, right?
Yeah. And you did.
And I did. Yes.
Now looking back, is there anything that you would have done differently, or do you feel like that was the right path for you?
It absolutely was the right path for me, especially the timing of my life, right? I have zero regrets with IVF, because it worked out the way that it should have worked out.
Right.
Now, the only thing that I would do differently is probably consider like extracting my eggs earlier, because that's half the battle. And if you don't have the pressure of having eggs, as we get older, our egg production goes down and the quality of eggs go down.
Right.
So if that pressure is off the table, then you just living life.
Right.
And then when Mr. Boo thing come along, you can carry on right with whatever you need to do. And it's a weight off of your shoulders per se.
So the biggest thing there for women that may be interested in just retrieving their eggs, right? Because they're single, haven't found Mr. Right yet, aren't sure what they want to do, and don't want to get older. The main thing is storage fees for that.
The main thing is you still want to, there's still a fee, right, with the whole extraction. So it's facility fee for the clinic. Still the fee of like medication, and some of those medications for the egg extraction may not be covered. But the thing is, check with your insurance, because different insurance covers different things. So it's still that whole first step of going through the process of getting the shots.
Yep. Check with your insurance first. Okay. Find you a good provider.
Right. Understand those opportunities to save and have your company pay for it. But this can be also for women who are married and just not ready to have kids yet.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
So luckily today we have a choice.
Right.
I hopefully hopefully we can continue to have a choice, but that's a whole
nother topic for a whole 5 to 10 episodes all in and of itself. I don't even know.
So
we have alleviated our mental load here recently.
Yeah.
We gonna keep that for the moment.
Yeah.
And we'll come back to that.
Yeah. So anyway, we're talking of, the choice is there currently.
Yes.
And the point is, if you're not ready, and it takes the pressure off of
the timing of having to have children, and
it takes the pressure off the timing.
Yes.
And so that choice, that's the only thing that I would do differently if I had the information back. Like, I did not even have a clue back when I was 30.
Right.
But I would have so done it if I was 30 in my 30s.
That's good. Okay.
So in the store, so the storage fees. So I pay about $800 a year for storage fees. Okay. So that's something else to consider. So the medication, if you're looking at the cost of IVF, it can be pricey, even with insurance. I probably still came out of pocket anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000, even with insurance.
Wow.
So because you have like facility charges that your insurance may not cover, you have medication, like some of the shots the insurance may not cover.
Right.
And
because one of your pills was really expensive.
Like $2,500.
Yes, I remember that. Okay.
So I think when I first started, I ended up paying, I had to pay for shots that were not covered. Yes. I had to pay a facility charge that wasn't covered. And then also the genetic testing was not covered. And that was $5,000. So it's like I met my deductible really quick, but
there's still a
lot of out of pocket expenses.
So that raises a good point as to why there's a smaller percentage of women of color that actually even go through that process.
Absolutely.
So one is lack of education, but the other is it's cost prohibitive for a lot of people.
It is. Now they do offer care. Some of us getting them BBLs on care credit, so maybe you gotta reconsider. Change what out for the
prioritize. The priorities are different. Right. Maybe that's what it is, sis. Oh my God. But not the BBL. Y'all, BBL or baby?
Hey, BBL or baby? Hey. Put that care credit to work. Or do the baby first and then the BBL. Get you the mommy makeover. I ain't opposed. Get your mommy
makeover. Yes. Oh,
this mommy needs to be made over. You're
so silly. I think you look good, sis. You just had a baby.
Good child.
So you working on that. But anything else you think is important to share with our listeners who may be interested in IVF, going through that journey?
I will say this. If there are any questions, if there's anything that piqued your interest during this discussion, feel free to send me a message. Yeah. You can hit us on Instagram at Live in the Bloom. You can hit us on TikTok. You can hit us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Any platform. If there's something that comes up, I'm an open book. I want to share as much information as I can about this process because the opportunity is there. Yes, it's expensive, but we pay for what we want, right? Yeah. And that's just the reality. It's not an easy process, but it's worth it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So is Auntie Tay gonna get a niece? We gonna get a niece?
Oh, child. Look, when I first had Donovan, I said, why do people keep doing this?
Yeah. That's
why.
That's a valid feeling. But then it goes away.
It started so cute. It started to go away now.
Yes. And you want them to have a playmate because then they're going to be looking to you to be the playmate.
He can play with his cousin. Shout out to Momo.
Yes. And they just a few weeks apart.
They are a few weeks apart. Yes, so he has a twin brother.
A built-in twin. Yes.
And he will be playing with him.
Okay.
So I don't know, sis. Okay. I am at the point where I'm open.
Yes.
But I'm not sure yet. It's still on the table.
That's fair.
It's still on the table. So we'll see what the next year brings.
All right.
All right. So thank Bloom fam. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And we will get with you soon.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great week, Bloom fam.